Today we have an article from the Bleacher Report to react to. It's by Adam Grutz is the author. Four trade destinations for JT Miller amid NHL rumors. At this point, it seems like Miller is more likely to get moved than Pedersen if one of them does get moved. So let's go ahead and check this out. Let's see where they think JT Miller could end up. About the New York Rangers. I mean, yeah, this is probably the one that's been discussed the most by people. JT Miller has been a New York Ranger before. They really loved him there. And from everything we've heard, they would love to have him back. I mean, it makes sense. The Rangers right now, I believe they sit 5 points out of a playoff spot. It might be even six at this point. The season's starting to get away from them quickly. And if they're going to turn it around, they need an emotional leader. They need someone that can get this team back on the right track and be a true leader in that locker room. And I think JT Miller is the perfect fit. We already heard that they had the Zibanejad for Miller trade offer. Real shocker that Vancouver didn't accept that one. So obviously they're interested. Miller has said before, I believe, that he'd be willing to go back to the New York Rangers. So it makes sense. This one makes total sense. Probably the most likely destination if he is to get moved in my eyes. So let's see if they have anything to say on here. Yeah, like they kind of talk about the Rangers need some spark. They've been one of the most disappointing teams. Totally. And Miller is the kind of guy that could spark a team. They kind of talk a bit about Zibanejad here to make the money work, but yeah, like the Canucks, I don't think they're interested in Zibanejad at all. I don't think that really solves any of your issues if you're Vancouver. Oh, so Bleacher Report doesn't actually think it's the most sensible move for the Rangers long term. I mean, I think if you're going to get JT Miller, it probably is a package built around Gabe Perreault. Maybe not. Maybe because the leverage, they don't have to go that hard into their prospect pool. But I think Gabe Perreault would probably be the guy that Vancouver wants. We've heard a bit about Braden Schneider as well. I think that that could be an option if the Rangers want to go that route. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Boston Bruins. Yeah, this is another team that makes total sense. Like the Bruins desperately need a number one center. The Elias Lindholm situation has not worked out at all for them. He's been terrible, and he's in year one of his, I believe it's 7.25 or $7.5 million contract. That's going to be a terrible contract for a long time, and it doesn't solve their center issues at all. Like right now, it's Charlie Coyle and Elias Lindholm. That's not a playoff top six. JT Miller could help them slot better. Maybe if you didn't have to give up one of Coyle or Lindholm, that's actually a really nice center core. But again, you probably would. If you could find a way to make this trade without giving up one of those two guys, it's perfect. But Vancouver most likely wants a center back to replace it. And although they loved Lindholm when he was there last year, I think that contract makes him almost unmovable at this point. So it's probably Charlie Coyle going the other way. And if that's the case for Boston, maybe it works out for you. But at the same time, I'm not sure Vancouver is too interested in bringing in Charlie Coyle for JT Miller. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they would be. And it's too bad Boston signed Lindholm to such a terrible contract and that he's underperforming because I'm sure Vancouver, that would be a guy they'd love to bring back. Chicago Blackhawks. Now, this makes absolutely zero sense for the Blackhawks. They're a team that's rebuilding. They're not ready to win now. And in the next 2 to 3 years, let's be realistic, they're still not going to be ready to win. Connor Bedard is definitely frustrated. I'm actually working on a video about Bedard right now and his frustrations in Chicago. So I guess the whole argument here is you just want to bring someone in that can help win now and can actually give Bedard some help and not have him just be sitting so frustrated on the Blackhawks. But at the same time, like this is a rebuilding team. JT Miller is over 30 years old. By the time they're competitive, he's probably on the back nine of his career. He's not going to be the same player unless he's one of those guys like Joe Pavelski that is good until he's friggin' 40 years old. I don't see this being a good move for the Blackhawks. It doesn't fit their timeline at all. And you're still going to have to give up a haul. Like, you're probably going to have to give up some young players, maybe a Lucas Reichel prospect, and then you're going to need to give up some actual roster pieces too. I'd imagine Connor Murphy would be a good idea for Vancouver. But then, like, that's nowhere near the value they would want back. Maybe they go crazy and ship out Artem Levshinov, but that would be a terrible move for Chicago. I don't like this move at all. Colorado Avalanche. I mean, yeah, it's another team that makes sense. Like they've been looking for a number two center for a long time. Really ever since Nazem Kadri left. Like you have Casey Middlestat there now, but is he a true number two center on a championship team? It's really hard to say at this point. I think he makes more sense as a top six winger in Colorado more than that second line center. JT Miller, 100%. Like that would be the best. Well, probably that'd be probably the second best center core in the league with McKinnon and Miller down the middle as your top six guys. Probably only behind, I would say, McDavid and Leon. I don't think there's any other center cores that would be competing with them. So for Colorado, it would give you that 1-2 punch, playoff performers. I think they would instantly become like legit cup contenders again. Not that they aren't already, but this would put them over the top into that, like, they're in that top tier again, you know, with, like, Florida and with teams like Edmonton, like, they'd be right up there. That would be an awesome Western Conference final. I love this move for Colorado. I think it probably starts with Callum Ritchie, like, that's probably the first guy that Vancouver asked for in terms of prospects, and then they probably want a roster piece too. I'm not really sure who Colorado would want to ship out. Let's see if they have any other ideas here. Who have they talked about a little bit? No one really. Yeah, they don't really have a suggestion for who could go the other way. Yeah, so I don't know, because I think Vancouver probably wants a defenseman back as well as a centerman. Maybe you ship out Casey Middlestat and add on top of that. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind the idea at all. I don't really know how you make it make sense and how you make it fair for both teams, but I don't mind the idea at all.